incredible night from start to finish, it feels like. And Giannis did the absolute most. 5 blocks. He had a double-double with 13 boards. I mean, it was just all around an impressive performance. And I think from start to finish this season, like, this has been the story, right? Like, Giannis signing the Supermax, staying in Milwaukee, deciding this is what he wants to do. Yes, there were some injuries along the way, but not just limited to the East. Also the same in the West. Nonetheless, the Milwaukee Bucks get it done. And if you didn't feel something for that team and for Giannis, like, I don't know if you haven't been paying attention or what's going on, but I got to tell you, he's been easy to root for, and I couldn't be more thrilled for the Milwaukee Bucks.
I mean, to the victors go the spoils, right? And he deserves to get all his flowers, but you want to also tip your hat to what the Phoenix Suns were able to do, almost trying to go from worst to first. Mm-hmm. And it's a tale of two stars. One star showed up, and he performed when the lights were the brightest, and another did not. Devin Booker didn't have a great night, and I think that was the difference. And, throughout this course of the playoffs, we focused on everything that Giannis isn't. But let's appreciate today what he is. First of all, for him to come back, I don't know what kind of vibranium he dipped his body in to be able to come back and play after the knee injury, but that was something that we didn't expect. And for him to look that well in game one. But you talk about signature moments, right? You talk about the LeBron-like chase down block, right? You talk about the block on Ayton, right? Only a few players in the league or maybe in history could have the athleticism to be able to do that. You talk about the alley-oop, right, where he went up to the heavens. The Greek god, the Greek freak, went up to the heavens and went and got that ball. But what I appreciate about him is not only is he the best player for the Bucks, he is also the hardest worker. He's a guy that always is on 10. And you talk about what he did and what he is. To me, he's the modern-day Shaquille O'Neal, right? He's the Greek freak. He presents everything that Shaquille presented, right? Low post presence, gets majority of his dominance inside the paint, but he's able to dribble, right? He's Shaq, evolution, Shaq 2.0, right? He's what happens like when evolution happens, and he deserves this MVP. And the fact that he signed the Supermax, and the fact that he dealt with all the adversity, all the heartache, all the pain, right? Coming in, I mean, looking at that picture, man, it's funny. When he's an 18-year-old kid and he's 198 pounds. They call him malnourished. I don't know if he was malnourished. They say he's malnourished. For him, you know how much hard work for a basketball player it is to put on almost 45 pounds of good weight? That speaks to his dedication, the hard work. And listen, greatness is done in the shadows, right? Because the road to greatness is a lonely road because only so many dare to travel it. And he traveled it all alone in a small market, and this is big for the little guy, right?
It is.
This allows, because what happens when anything happens and somebody has to analyze the champion, they figure out how they got there. And this was, so they start fracking, right? So they start fracking and trying to emulate it. So now if you're a guy in a small market, now if I'm out there in Portland, I'm saying, you know what? Let's put all the chips in the middle of the table because we got a great player that we haven't appreciated and surround him with the people that we need because we can't waste their prime.
Okay, a few things you said there that I want to build off of. First off, in terms of hard work, yes, you could go 100 different directions. But in this final series only, let's talk about the free throws, okay? Because have we dogged Giannis for the free throws? What did he do last night? He drained 17 of 19 from the charity stripe. Like, talk about overcoming what was on his brain throughout the entirety, it felt like, of the playoffs. And then last night, forget it. Just drains them. Those were moments where I'm like, this is what we're talking about.
That's the dagger. That's the dagger, right?
That's the dagger. And then, in terms of the comparison to Shaquille O'Neal, let me give you some receipts for that. Giannis recorded 3 40-point, 10-rebound games in the NBA Finals, joining 2000 Shaquille O'Neal as the only players in NBA history to do that. His final stat line, by the way, for this series, just over 35 points, just over 13 boards, 5 assists. He shot 62% of his field goals in the finals. I mean, an incredible stat line for Giannis Antetokounmpo throughout the entirety of this series. Now, let's hear from the Greek Freak, shall we? This is him last night after the dub saying, yep, I did it my way. Take a listen.
This is my city. They trust me. They believe in me. They believed in us. Even when we were lost, the city still was on our side. And, obviously I wanted to get the job done. But that's my stubborn side. It's easy to go somewhere and go and win a championship with somebody else. It's easy. I could go, I don't want to put anybody in the spot, but I could go to a super team and, just do my part and win a championship, still one. But this is the hard way to do it, and this is the way I chose to do it. And we did it. We did it, man.
It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. And he's right. They did it. And it was the hard way to do it. But
I love that moment, right? Because that was a lot of frustration. I love that isolating moment when that star where everybody's in this state of euphoria and he's able to finally stop and digest and live in the moment. And when he goes to the bench and sits down and has that moment to himself about what he did and what he's just accomplished and how that changes his trajectory, right? Because now we talk about him in a different way. He was always like, well, why would he stay there for the Supermax? He can't get it done. And watching him sit there and just embrace it and come in, and from the performance that he had, putting that team on his back. He put that team on his back, and his will was greater than the stars of the sun. You know, I mean, you feel sorry for Chris Paul. Well, I don't, because after the Clippers, how he finished out, I wanted the Greek freaking man to get it done. But guys like Chris Middleton, right, that's always been told that they weren't good enough, that they're a star. And that's what's great about, small markets. They might not be the star that most people want, but that's the star that they have, and they embrace them. And they say, you know what, Chris Middleton, he's not Kevin Durant. He's not James Harden, but he's our guy. He's our star. And he showed up. But, what Giannis did, the consistency in which he did it in, is something that we haven't seen. I haven't seen a dominance like this in the finals. I don't know since Shaquille O'Neal.
You haven't. You haven't at all. Antetokounmpo led the Bucks in Game 6, recording 50 points, 14 boards, 5 blocks, becoming the first player with a 50, 10, and 5 in a playoff game since they were first tracked in 1973, 1974. So no, you have not
50.
Seen this.
And what made, like, when we see 50s, he's a guy that's getting 2-pointers.
Yeah.
It ain't like he's throwing up jacking up 11 threes.
No, he knows what his game is, and that's what I appreciate.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.